In this True Crime Stories, we take a detailed look into the intense and disturbing case of Natalee Holloway, a then 18-year-old girl who disappeared in Aruba 18 years ago. Finally, after decades of a heartbreaking journey, Joran van der Sloot, the #1 suspect in Natalee Holloway's disappearance, steps forward and admits publicly for the first time that it was he who truly killed Natalee. The video that you are about to watch is a true crime case that gripped the nation for decades. It will have every detail you need to know about her disappearance. Natalee's case even drew in international media and sparked a long and frustrating investigation that involved multiple suspects, false confessions, and just lies upon lies. And how finally, after almost 20 years, the answer you've been waiting for finally gets answered. Crime Never Pays, our YouTube channel, is dedicated to true crime cases, the victims involved, their killers, and how it all started. From the most horrific of cases to the most disturbing, we have all for you. Be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more on the latest and most disturbing true crime stories from the most hearing, disturbing, and intensy. And don't forget to comment down below what you want to see next. Imagine, you're 18 years old and having the trip of a lifetime in Aruba. A tropical paradise with plenty of experiences and a nightlife only very few ever get to experience. You are having the time of your life in a nightclub and even meet a charming young man who offers to show you around. You go with him, only to never return. No trace, no evidence, nobody knows what happened to you. This is Natalee Holloway's story, one of the most notorious missing persons cases in US history. In this video, you will discover exactly what happened to her, all the twists and turns that eventually lead to discovering who her true killer was. In the theater of true crime, there have been countless cases of destroyed lives, but few such cases not only shock the nation, but remain a mystery for almost 20 years, than the case of Natalee Holloway's disappearance in Aruba. Feel the pulse of suspense as we dive into a 2-decade-old puzzle that held America captive. What happened to Natalee, a young 18-year-old who disappears on the last night of her graduation trip? And why this case would have remained a mystery forever, if not for the shocking turn of events as prime suspect Joran van der Sloot steps forward after decades of avoiding the spotlight. Take a front row seat as we unlock one of America's most cryptic true crime novels. Like, comment, and subscribe. The year was 2005, May 26th. What started as a celebration turned into a nightmare. Natalee and 124 other Mountain Brook HS graduates go on a 5-day graduation trip to Aruba. Fun, freedom, and friends. Aruba is a haven, full of life, full of experiences. Imagine this: a paradise island where the waters are clear, the sands are soft and full of trees, and the waves sparkle, especially at night. What was supposed to be a magical 5-day trip to a tropical paradise turned haunting ground. Underneath a starry Aruban night sky, an 18-year-old Natalee Holloway, who was ready to have the time of her life, but would take an unexpected turn. Surrounded by friends, they went to the popular Carlos and Charlie's nightclub and the Excelsior Casino, drinking, dancing, gambling, partying, where Natalee would meet Joran, a charming young man who, along with the Calpo brothers, offered to show them around. As the vibrant nightlife continued to roar throughout the night, Natalee slowly vanished into the shadows, never to be seen. Records show Natalee left with Joran around 1:30 a.m., May 30th, 2005. This is the last time she's seen. The following day, her friends reported her missing to her mother, Betty Holloway, when Natalee didn't show up at the hotel lobby. The timeline leading to Natalee's vanishing point became a critical piece, with investigators meticulously reconstructing and reevaluating every possible aspect of the events of that ominous night. Who were the prime suspects? A charming 17-year-old Dutch national named Joran van der Sloot, the son of an Aruban judge. Joran claims that he dropped off Natalee at her hotel and left. The other suspects were the Calpo brothers, a pair of Surinamese nationals, 21-year-old Deepak and 18-year-old Satish. There were friends of Joran, the prime suspect in the case. For several weeks, the Calpo brothers were detained by officials, but were never charged due to a lack of evidence. They claimed that they dropped off Natalee at her hotel, only to admit later that their story was a lie directed by none other than Joran van der Sloot. With the surge of scrutiny from the media and the growing public speculations, Joran's name would become synonymous with Natalee's disappearance. As the investigation deepened, the speculation machine churned. From rumors of a network of individuals suspected to be involved or have witnessed Natalee's disappearance, however, all rumors got squashed when details about Joran's interactions with Natalee surfaced, painting a grim picture. On the night of May 31st, 2005, Betty Holloway, Natalee's family accompanied by 2 Aruban policemen, arrived at Joran van der Sloot's residence. At first, Joran tried to deny ever knowing Natalee, but eventually confessed. Joran's first story he told the authorities was that he and the Holloway brothers took Natalee to the California lighthouse area because Natalee wanted to see sharks. They would later drop her off at her hotel, around 2 a.m. A drunk Natalee stumbles and falls, hitting her head while trying to get out of his car. Joran tries to help Natalee, but she refuses. As he drives away, Joran last saw Natalee being approached by a security guard. Less than a week later, Abraham Jones and Nick John, former security guards, are detained by the Aruban police. They would be released a week later with no charges. On June 9th, Joran and the Holloway brothers are arrested on suspicion of kidnapping and murder. Their stories change. The second story told was, the Holloway brothers say they dropped off Joran and Natalee at the beach, and Joran says he left Natalee at the beach and walked home. The investigation into what happened to Natalee went on for years, with the public witnessing the Holloway brothers and Joran get arrested, released, and re-arrested, with each new piece of evidence the authorities found. Even Joran's father, the Aruban judge, was arrested. Here's a quick timeline of what happened during those years. May 26, 2005. The victim, Natalee Holloway, and her large group of Mountain Brook classmates arrive in Aruba. May 30th, 2005. Natalee is seen leaving Carlos and Charlie's with 3 men, Joran, Satish, and Deepak. June 9th, 2005. The 3 suspects are arrested. July 2005, Satish and Deepak are released. August 26, 2005, with Joran still in custody. The brothers are arrested again on suspicion. It wasn't just them, but others who were involved in the raping and killing of Natalee. September 3rd, 2005. The 3 suspects are released, but the authorities have them remain under investigation. November 21st, 2007. Joran and the Holloway brothers are re-arrested again for their involvement in the manslaughter of Natalee Holloway. December 1st, 2007. The Holloway brothers are released again. December 7th, 2007. Joran would be released again. December 10th, 2007. All charges are dropped against all 3 suspects for insufficient evidence. The Aruban authorities consider the case closed. February 1st, 2008. The case is reopened. Joran isn't arrested though, nor the Holloway brothers. Enjoying the video? Please like and subscribe to our channel for all the latest true crime videos. What followed Natalee's disappearance was an extensive investigation that would grip America. This feels like a detective novel for the public. It was a labyrinth of evidence, legal challenges, interrogations, arrest, release, re-arrested, international cooperation between continents, and all the conflicting narratives prove that a crime that involves 2 countries, complex especially if you consider all the international legal protocols and laws, from extradition, jurisdiction, diplomatic intricacies, and much more. And it didn't help that Joran seemed to have changed. In the beginning of 2008, with the help of an ex-convict who knows Joran, a Dutch reporter sets up a hidden camera that captures Joran admitting that he disposed of Natalee's body from a boat. When Joran was confronted about this, Joran claimed he made it all up. Later that year, Joran goes on Fox News, and this time he claims that he sold Natalee to some guy who wanted a blonde girl. He would later retract this statement. Are you noticing a pattern here? Unfortunately, there is some truth to his previously retracted statement. In November of the same year, Joran was involved in a sex trafficking ring in Bangkok. He posed as a production consultant, where he sold Thai girls to the Netherlands. He wasn't charged even though the Thai authorities were following him. Fast forward 2 years. In February 2010, Joran's father died heart attack. This gives Joran an idea for a brand new financial scheme. he contacts John Q. Kelly, Holloway's lawyer, offering the location of Natalee's body in exchange for $250,000. $25,000 up front, the rest to follow. The lawyer accepts the offer, and he would, of course, inform the authorities of the deal. 3 months later, Attorney Kelly arrives in Aruba to meet up with Joran. After accepting the money, Joran leads Attorney Kelly to a house where he claims Natalee's body is buried in its foundation. Let me ask you, doesn't this all seem to be a little bit too convenient? Information later reveals that the house where Joran claims that Natalee's body was buried wasn't even built during the time of Natalee's disappearance, showing once again Joran's lies and deceptions. 5 years later after Natalee's disappearance, on May 30th, yes, May 30th, in Lima, Peru, the same Joran murders 18-year-old Stephanie Flores Ramirez in his hotel room. It wouldn't be days later that Stephanie's body was found, as Joran left instructions that his hotel room was not to be entered. Days later, Joran is found in Chile with newly dyed red hair. The authorities had him deported back to Lima, Peru. Later that month, June, Joran would be charged with extortion and wire fraud. Frustratingly enough, even though Betty Holloway gave $25,000 to Joran, he was never arrested. 2 years later, in 2012, Natalee Holloway would be declared dead, 7 years after her disappearance. Something interesting happened in January of that year, though. Joran would plead guilty to killing Stephanie Ramirez, claiming he had to kill her because Stephanie accessed his laptop without his permission, and Stephanie found information linking Joran to Natalee Holloway. He had no choice but to kill her. Joran is charged with a 28-year prison sentence. Strangely enough, while Joran was in prison, he somehow got married and had a kid. What transpired in the following years were several incidents, but none were more prevalent than in 2016, where Natalee's father hires a private investigator who finds a man named Gabriel who claims he was once roommates with John Ludwig, an American who was close with Joran. Information obtained from Gabriel led investigators to discover human bones. But after DNA testing, they concluded that it wasn't Natalee's. However, John Ludwig would confess in a documentary series that he helped Joran dispose of Natalee's body back in 2010, 5 years after the incident. Again, 5 years after the incident. After 18 years of back-and-forth allegations, arrest, release, new evidence, rearrest, one false story after another, Joran's evolving bizarre attitude, and the public's eye, on June 2023, via an executive order, Joran was temporarily extradited from Peru, where he was serving a murder sentence over his killing of Stephanie Ramirez, to the United States. On October 18, 2023, Joran pleaded guilty to not only exportation and wire fraud in 2010, but for the killing of Natalee Holloway. The answer to all our questions on what happened that night has finally been answered. After being dropped off the beach by Satish and Deepak Kalpoy, Joran and Natalee walk along the beach to later lay and make out. Joran makes advances on Natalee, but she says no and ends up kneeing him in the groin. In retaliation, he gets up and kicks her extremely hard in the face and proceeds to grab a cider block and bashes her head in. Then he puts her into the ocean. Or better yet, why not just hear it in Joran van der Sloot's voice?
Plus, she asked to go back to her hotel, but I was just trying to get dropped off a little bit further away from her hotel, so we could walk back to her hotel, and I might still get a chance to be with her.
Okay.
That's what I was hoping for.
Okay. So what happens?
Yeah, Deepak drops me off at a place a little right of the Marriott hotel known as the Fisherman's Huts. This place is not so far from, the next hotel is the Marriott, and the next hotel after that is another Marriott, which is a timeshare, and then it's the Holiday Inn. Well, we walk along the beach.
Do Deepak and Satish get out? Come with what happens?
Deepak and Satish leave. They leave. They go back to their home. I assume they go back to their home. They get in their car and they leave. I'm actually with Natalee walking along the beach. I find a space before we get to the Marriott hotel, where I lay her down. We lay down together in the sand, and we start kissing each other. I get her to kiss me again. We start kissing each other, and I start feeling her up again, and she tells me no. She tells me she doesn't want me to feel her up. I insist. I keep feeling her up either way, and she knees me. She ends up kneeing me in the crotch. When she knees me in the crotch, I get up on the beach and I kick her extremely hard in the face. She's laying down unconscious, possibly even dead, but definitely unconscious. And I see right next to her there's a huge cinder block laying on the beach.
When you say cinder block, looking at the walls of this place, is it like those?
The exact same cinder blocks. I see a huge cinder block laying on the beach. I take this and I smash her head in with it completely. Her face basically, collapses in. Even though it's dark, I can see her face is collapsed in. Afterwards, I don't exactly know what. I'm scared. I don't know what to do, and I decide to take her and to put her into the ocean. So I grab her and I half pull and half walk with her into the ocean. I push her off. I walk up to about my knees into the ocean, and I push her off into the sea. After that, I get out. I walk home.
In light of these dreadful confessions, Betty Holloway finally gets her answer after a long and painful journey. She considers the case closed. The case against Joran and Aruba for murder is still open, but Betty says she considers the case closed and that she has what she needs, and I'm sticking to victorious. As we conclude the perplexing case of the disappearance of Natalee Holloway, we are both left with satisfaction, as finally after 18 years the prime suspect finally gets convicted for his crimes, and sadness that Natalee's body was never found, and that her case is still ongoing even though Betty Holloway considers it closed. We can only hope that with recent developments, Natalee's family can finally have the true justice that they deserve, and not be dragged along more by Joran's psychopathic lies. And if you want to know more about Natalee Holloway's case, subscribe to our YouTube channel to be up to date on all the latest news and gripping investigations.